Vulnerable and displaced children are at a higher risk for emotional, sexual, and physical abuse because they're often neglected children. They often have unstable home environments. They may be more easily trafficked in the community. The sexual trafficking is extremely high risk for displaced and vulnerable children, and often they may not have the environment in place, whether it be home or within the community, where people are easily identifying those risk factors that are in their life, or even paying attention to the changes in behavior that they have that may be an indication that they are physically, emotionally, or sexually abused. Some things that are extremely important for caregivers to do to be able to identify these high-risk children are, for when it comes to physical abuse, noticing whether there are any unusual marks or bruises on the children. Now, children at play, toddlers, they may have some bruising on their shins, that's common, but bruising on the buttocks, on the abdomen, on the upper arms, those are usually not signs of normal wear and tear of a child playing. Those can be signs, whether you see unusual scratch marks or cut marks on a child, those are definitely signs of risk for physical abuse in a child. Whether you see a child more withdrawn, if they flinch more easily when you are upset, or if you're speaking to them in a change of tone, or even your regular tone, you're seeing a change in a behavior, a child more emotionally responsive, that is a definite warning sign of a child that may be abused. Other things to look out for is when it comes to things like sexual abuse, when a child may be unwilling to spend time with a certain caregiver or another person in the environment that you're in. Again, if they flinch more easily, if they're walking unusually, if their willingness to use the restroom has changed, if you see them acting surprisingly more adult or more infantile than their age, those also can be warning signs that a child may be exposed or themselves at risk for sexual or emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is when you see a change in behavior or interaction of the child. It may be secondary to some sort of psychological trauma or even mental or physical abuse. For example, things that you might notice are examples of emotional abuse in a child is the child is now withdrawn, no longer interacting with friends or caregivers at the same level that they were interacting before. You may see the reverse. You could see a really aggressive child, a child that is now physically acting out with other children in their age, or getting aggressive or verbally aggressive with their caregivers. You can see signs of depression and anxiety. The child is withdrawn, quiet, disinterested in eating, not wanting to sleep appropriately, very nervous, very sort of reactive or hyperactive responses are often just indicators that the child has been emotionally abused. So unfortunately, there's many examples of sexual abuse that children that are at higher risk may be exposed to, rape being one of them, underage sex or underage child marriage being another, prostitution or the high risk for sex trafficking or child trafficking in children this age, molestation that could be from a stranger, but more often, as we've seen, it's from people that they know or caregivers in their family. So those are all things to take into account when you're seeing emotional or physical changes in the child, is that they may have been at risk for those sexual abuses.